Yo, what up fellow disc golfers, Adam with High Action Disc Golf. Today I'll be bringing you a review of the Discraft Zone, an overstable approach disc made by Discraft. I know quite a few reviews of this disc have already been done, but I thought I would give you my own spin on it being a lefty. People claim that this is the best approach disc on the market. I'm going to put that to the test today. I've got quite a few different plastics and some varying stabilities, and I've got a pretty decent left to right crosswind today, so let's see how well this disc holds up in those winds with me being a lefty. If you like content like this, please remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Discraft Zone, and let me know what you think of the reviews, and if there's anything that I can do to make these videos better for you. With that being said, let's get out here, throw it on a few different shapes, and see how it holds up. So before we get into the review, I want to give a couple quick disclaimers. First off, apologies for the lack of content in the past couple of weeks. I've taken on a considerable amount more work up at my job, and it's made getting out after hours and on the weekends a little difficult. Thankfully, that workload is starting to even out, so expect more consistent content moving forward. Also, let me know in the comments below what you think of the footage. I waited a few extra days to start filming this review because I got a brand new camera that I believe is going to significantly increase the quality of my videos. The video footage that you're seeing right now and the video footage out in the field is shot with this camera. So let me know in the comments how the footage looks and how the audio is on everything. With all that said, let's get into the review and see how the zone flies. Now first off, we had a pretty decent little cold front come through. It's right at about 55 to 57 degrees out here with a pretty substantial wind. I'd say probably somewhere between 15 to 20 miles per hour, blowing left to right, maybe a little bit of tailwind. So I haven't warmed up at all, so I'm going to run through my quick warm-up routine. You guys can kind of see what I do to get warmed up. Also, shout out to Flight Towel. I am not sponsored by them. This is not a sponsored video, but this is a product that I have used for quite a while now. And if you don't have one and you need to warm up, trust me, you need to pick one up. It helps so much because you can buy varying fobs that have been cut from real discs in varying different shapes that feel comfortable in your hand. And then this towel actually has a pocket at the back that creates drag and makes it feel like you're actually pulling through on a disc. That way, when you're warming up and you're getting ready and you're doing your warm-up throws, you don't have to sit here and chunk a whole bunch of plastic down out into the field. Go walk and pick it up, throw it back. You can just sit here and do all of your motions and all of your throws right here in one place. So I'm going to run through my routine real quick. You guys can see what I do to kind of get warmed up and ready to go and get the blood flowing and the muscles moving. And then we'll get out here and we'll throw these zones and see how they fly. So I forgot to mention the flight numbers while I was recording out there. The flight numbers for the zone are a speed of 4, glide of 3, turn of 0, and fade of 3. So nice overstable approach putter. Also, shout out to Disc Golf Strong for my warm-up routine. I got a few of these warm-ups off of YouTube. I have not checked out his full regimen, but I definitely want to. But the few things that I have started to adopt have really helped me keep myself very limber and ready to play, and have really limited any chances for injury out there on the course. If you haven't checked out Disc Golf Strong, definitely do so. You won't regret it. So for the review today, I've got 5 separate discs in varying plastics. The first ones I have are a couple I borrowed from a buddy of mine. These are 2 Z-line zones. He claims that these are pretty overstable. We'll see when I put those to the test today, because I've got a couple that I believe are pretty overstable. So we'll see how these hold up to those. I've also got a Crystal Flex Ledgestone 2020 zone. This is the one that I feel is probably my most overstable. Shout out to Brody Smith. I've got a Glow Wonder Bread Get Freaky Crystal Flex zone. Also, by the way, I did not pay the $200 to $300 that people were trying to sell these for. I got this at launch and just got super lucky to get that Wonder Bread stamp. So super hyped about this. Shout out to Brody Smith. And then my favorite zone in my bag and my go-to is my Dark Horse Jawbreaker zone. This one you're going to see fly significantly different. I'll leave that alone for now, and you guys can see that once I start throwing it. I'll let that be kind of a surprise. So to start off, I'm going to try to throw each one of these at about 50% power, nice and smooth, Nothing super hard. I'm not going to crank down on them just yet. Just a nice, smooth, consistent swing. I'm also going to throw these with a control grip. I'm not going to power grip it because this is how I would hold my disc if I was throwing nice and smooth and just trying to get a gentle approach. For reference, again, I do have a left to right crosswind, probably about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so it is ripping kind of hard out here today in Texas. So we'll see how that affects each one of these. We're going to start off with the Z zones. That one came out with a touch of Hyzer. I'm really trying to get these flat, so I'll try to correct on the other Z zone. So with the exception of the first one, I hit all of them flat and nice and smooth. Like I said, about 50% power. I also tried to keep them kind of low to fight against the wind to see what they would do if you get under the wind. I threw each one of them out there probably about 200 feet. And between the two Z zones and the Crystal Flex zones, it looks like all of them would push pretty straight with a very mild finish at the end, at least within 200 feet. Now, when I power up on these, I'm sure we're going to see that a lot more exaggerated. Also, as you could tell with the Jawbreaker zone, I have beat the mess out of that. It's actually my turnover disc for my approach shots. So that one, as soon as I hit it flat, it immediately wanted to turn over to the left. And again, you will see that that is significantly exaggerated once I start to power up on these. This time, I'm going to throw each one of these flat again, hit them with a power grip instead of a control grip, and crank up on the power probably to about 75% and try to hit them a little higher. And let's see what they do. So after hitting each one of them flat and really powering up on them, I can definitely see a significant difference. I would say that those Z zones are a little more beefier than my Crystal Flex ones. The finish is about the same, but with those Z zones, they wanted to finish sooner. Where when I walk out there to pick them up, the Crystal Flex zones actually carried probably about 20 to 25 feet further. And I can just tell that they want to hold that line for a little bit longer. But all of them, the Crystal Flexes and the Z zones, I hit them flat. They don't want to turn at all. They just hold that nice flat line with a good, consistent, hard finish at the end. Again, you can see with the Jawbreaker zone, as soon as I hit it flat, it's so beat in that it immediately turns over to the left. Now, if you were to get a pretty new Jawbreaker zone, I would argue that it would probably finish very similar to the Z zones and the Crystal Flex zones, but it would still push out straight a lot longer than the other ones would, just because of the plastic type. Now I'm going to take each one of them, I'm going to keep that same amount of power and put them all on a Hyzer line and see how they hold that Hyzer, see if any of them want to find out of it. wind slapped that one. Woo. So that right there is definitely where the zone excels. It's an overstable approach disc, and you can tell when you hit the zone on a Hyzer, it wants to hold that line. It does not want to flip hardly at all. Both the Crystal Flexes and the Z zones, you hit them on the Hyzer line, they don't really turn hardly at all. I would say that my clear Crystal Flex, the regular one, turned maybe a tiny bit and carried just a little bit further, but each of the other ones, no matter what, you hit it on that Hyzer line and it just holds that Hyzer all the way out in the flight and just wants to dump to the ground. I would say that the Z zones wanted to dump to the ground harder, even though I think that I spiked those a little higher than the others. Also, as you can see with the Jawbreaker zone, when I hit it on a massive Hyzer, it flipped up all the way to flat. And because I threw it so high, it exposed the nose and I lost some distance. But I can get some really nasty Hyzer flip out of that disc if I need an approach within probably about 250 to 275 feet. Now I'm going to put each one of these through the ringer, and I'm going to test them and force them into a situation that they don't want to be in and flex them over. I'm going to hit them all with an Anhyzer, throw them out there really hard on the Anhyzer line, and see how hard they want to fight out of it. Don't be surprised if each of these don't hit on the exact same angle and height. I'm going to try my best, but the Anhyzer is not the shot that I am most comfortable with, so I can't make any promises, but I will try my best to hit each one of them on as close to the same line and angle as I possibly can. So as you can see there, the Anhyzer is definitely not my strong suit. I'm working on it, but it's definitely far from perfect. But I think that worked out pretty well. I hit each of the Z's on a high line and a low line, and also with the Crystal Flexes, each on a high line and a low line. So you can really see how this disc wants to hold over. When you hit it on that Anhyzer, it really wants to hold that Anhyzer for a decent amount of time. If you put enough height on it, it will fight out of it. But I like this disc on an Anhyzer, just hold and have a nice, consistent pan out at the end. The Z's did seem like they wanted to pan out a little bit harder, both on the low and the high line, I would say. But overall, they hold that Anhyzer pretty well if you really torque up on it, and they just have a nice, consistent, flat finish. The Jawbreaker zone, on the other hand, the moment I hit it on an Anhyzer, it just dumped out into a roller. I knew it would probably do that. So to give you my final thoughts on the Discraft zone, if it's any testament to it, I actually bag these two currently. I absolutely love this disc. The feel in the hand is amazing. It's got a nice flat top. It's really comfortable. I don't throw a whole lot of forehands. I'm not very good at it, which is why you're not going to see it in this video. But I will use the forehand for some light approaches occasionally. And if I'm doing so, I'm reaching for my Crystal Flex zone almost every time, because it is definitely one of the most comfortable in my hand for a forehand. But overall, I love the feel of a zone. I love the flight of a zone. I use this Crystal Flex one for my good overstable approaches, and I use this really beat-in Jawbreaker one for my nice turnover approaches. And if I want to throw nice and high and have that Anhyzer just hold like that. I'll also use this for a good approach flip-up disc if I really need to crank on it to about 250 feet. There's a good chance I'm going to hit my buddy up and see if he wants to part with one of those Z zones though, because I really like that disc, and I think it may actually replace this Crystal Flex one, because I want one with just a little bit more beef than even this has. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, again, please remember to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Discraft zone. Let me know if it's your approach disc of choice or if you have one you prefer. I would love to do a review over a few others. I've tried a few others. The zone has been my go-to so far, but if you've got something that you believe in, let me know. This is Adam with High Action Disc Golf, and I'll catch you guys on the high road.